All right, we are live. I am Nils Smith, and we're talking about live streaming your church. I've got Aaron Magnuson with us. Aaron, thanks for joining me today.
Super happy to be here under strange circumstances.
It is a really unique moment right now. And Aaron, I'm getting a little bit of a loop. If you might have some headphones
down just a little bit,
that might help.
Cheers. Is that better?
A little bit better. So we're learning, and live streaming is not perfect and it's not easy. And so we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about the things we've learned. I've been live streaming now for almost 12 years. Learned a lot in the process and definitely have not perfected it yet. I want to give you some practical tips for you live streaming this Sunday in your church. And those that are listening to the Social Media Church podcast, this is a special podcast that we're recording. So it's raw, it's unedited. But we feel like this is an important conversation for church leaders to have with the coronavirus and everything that's happening, and a lot of churches needing to not have services physically. But we believe that church can still happen in a very real and a very significant way with live streaming and with the possibilities of live streaming. I want to share a little bit about my history with live streaming and how I got into this. And then I just want to get super practical, Aaron, in our conversation and just talk about how you live stream, how you get people to your live stream, what you do when they're there. And so I started live streaming. It was probably 12 or 13 years ago. I remember a college student coming up to me. I was a college pastor at the time in San Antonio, Texas. And we had about 75 college students that would come to our Monday night event called Segway. And somebody came up to me and they said, hey, you should use this platform called Modulus. And you just connect your handy cam to your computer and you push go live. And we tested it. And sure enough, we connected our handy cam, our Sony handy cam to my Mac and push go live. And we said, hey, everybody, here's the domain. Update your MySpace, update your Facebook. I mean, this is back in the day.
Yeah.
And here's the domain. It was like modulus.com/7242, like terrible domain. We had over 500 people that joined us for that first live stream. And it was like, wow, there is something to this that anyone, anywhere could be a part of our college service. Ended up doing it in big church, started onlinechurch.com. And now I feel like the majority of what I do is help ministries utilize new technologies like live streaming. The reality is it's not that new. It's been around for many years, but I would say it's easier than ever, and it's easier than ever for your church to have a great live stream experience, even if you have never live streamed before. So we're going to talk about for the pros that are having to do this, for the beginners, probably especially for the beginners, and those that are kind of intermediate in this. Aaron, what's your experience in the live streaming world?
Yeah. I have two differences, which I think is going to be really helpful, Nils, for the conversation that we're having today, particularly for the leaders that we're talking to. Before I got in my role here at One and All, we live stream 7 services every weekend, for them being live, 2 of them being simulated live. I worked at a church in Oregon, in a school with crappy internet, happened to be a dead zone as well for cell service. So that was a struggle every single week. A church of 300, we met in a middle school, and that church, the Grove, you can follow them on Instagram at Albany Grove. They stream their services every weekend now to Facebook. And so as you're listening to this, don't yourself out, no matter what church you have, no matter where you are, no matter how much equipment and how good that equipment is, it doesn't really matter. And I love it that we're live streaming right here on StreamYard, because StreamYard is a relatively new thing that Nils turned me on to. That is the easiest way to stream I think I've ever seen, and they do a great job. It's reliable. I mean, there's a reason that we're live streaming on StreamYard right now, but my experience with it on both of those ends, on large scale, between 5 and 6 on a weekend, to a church of 300, and both of those sides of the spectrum have an opportunity, if you're not gathering together on weekend to do something. And I actually say this, we we lived in a part of Oregon that doesn't get snow, but purely we do get snow, and it shuts the whole city down. Like there's just you can't drive in it, and a lot of times there's freezing rain. Like we're just not equipped, and so it shuts our whole city down. Well, this happened one year. This was like 3 or 4 years ago, where we in the winter in December actually had to cancel one of our services. But I use the term cancel loosely because we actually made a way where each of the staff, we had a staff of about 3 or 4 people. We each were able to put together a service through live streaming. Different parts of the service happened in different people's houses. I remember I did like a little announcement section from my home office, and we had worship and teaching happened in somebody else's house, but we kind of Frankenstein this thing together. And so even if you're not create something within your space, you have an opportunity to live stream a service that's Franken together. And it was one of the most powerful services that we had, because people experienced church way, and they, most importantly, still got to experience church. So I think the biggest thing is where this conversation goes, and as practical as we get, don't rule yourself out as, well, I can't do that, because you certainly can. Nils, what some of the questions are that you've gotten, maybe thoughts on that, piggybacking, talk more about StreamYard or whatever. I can't hear you, but I don't know if that's true of our audience.
I muted myself.
Perfect. Okay.
Aaron, if you have some headphones, if you could put those on, because we're getting a loop.
Yeah.
So I muted myself and kind of confirmed that it wasn't on my end. And I think this is actually a perfect example of what happens when you are live streaming. And so some of the complications that happens, and how you need to adjust to them, because it's live and you can't stop that. And so it's there's just stuff that comes with it. And so, Aaron, I honestly wasn't paying attention to a whole lot because I was trying to figure out the loop.
No problem.
But I want to talk about, I've gotten a lot of questions of, Greg Smith from Brenham, Texas. That's actually my dad. Asked how do you do communion? For churches that do communion every week. I want to talk about that. Some other questions I've gotten is what kind of equipment do you use? What kind of platform should you use? And so I want to talk about the technical side first, and then I want to get into some of the challenges that people have. Some of the how do we do communion? What do you do? How do you get people there? So kind of technology, marketing, ministry, how does this all work? And I want to do this efficiently too, to maximize your time. And so I continue to hear, I've gotten probably 3 updates today of events that have been canceled that I was going to be a part of. YouTube here in New York has shut down their offices. I was going to go to the YouTube studio next week. And so anyways, it's wild. A lot of things that are happening, and I expect a lot of churches and to need to close their doors, and that's already happening some, but probably more and more. But I obviously believe that this technology is going to allow you to connect in a very real and tangible way with your congregation. So first step with the technology, I think there's a few different things that you can use if you're just getting started. I'm using a platform called StreamYard right here. I love StreamYard. And those of you who watched my other live streams, you've heard me go on and on about StreamYard. I love that you have a lot of customization. You can see, if you're watching right now, that I made myself big and Aaron small, or you can add, where you put a slide over it, or, we put a banner so if I pop a banner up here. And so you can put a banner that goes up, and you can have a little ticker on the bottom where you can follow and have messages that show or turn that off. And so there's a lot of functionality that can give you kind of a pro feel. And honestly, there's a basic platform that's free, and then you can take the branding off for like $17 a month. And so it's a great platform. I think I pay $45 a month, so I can send it up to 5 platforms all at once. And so right now I'm live streaming on my Facebook page, on Periscope, or on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube, and on the Social Media Church Facebook page. And so there are so many places that you can live stream and get your content out there. And so you don't have to own, a great website to do it, you can start by using a platform like StreamYard. The other two platforms that I hear a lot about are StreamMonkey. A lot of churches use, very stable. They use the Akamai backend, so it gives you a lot of stability. And they're Christian guys that I've met several times in the past, and so it's they're good guys to work with. So I definitely encourage you to check out StreamMonkey if you're looking for more of a pro solution. And then I would say that kind of in between those two is Vimeo. Now Vimeo is a pro. It's going to be very solid, but Vimeo is also a very simple platform. And so I've done a lot of live streaming with Vimeo in the past. Vimeo acquired livestream.com, which is the biggest provider of live streaming. So, and that's what acquired Mogulus originally when I first started live streaming 12 years ago. And so Vimeo is a good tool too, because you can actually have a chat. They have their own chat functionality that you can use. You can embed it very easily, the video and the chat, into your website. And then the other platform that a lot of churches used is the Church Online platform. So Life Church has made that available to everyone for free. It's an incredible platform. It's pretty easy to set up. And so don't worry if you don't have everything you need or feel like you have everything you need from a graphic standpoint. It's the basic platform, even without custom graphics, is really functional. And so you do have to apply for that. And they're usually pretty fast turnaround. I imagine a lot of churches are applying today, but you don't hesitate to try to jump in and set up a church online platform. Even if you're not sure if you're going to use it, I think that's a really great solution, because it allows you to, play your video there. It allows you to have a chat wall there, to put your sermon notes on there, and it's built for church online. And so I think that's a great place to start. And then where do you distribute? And I would say there's two primary places that I would look to distribute, and that's Facebook and YouTube. Now, Facebook is probably where more people in your church are engaged and at, and YouTube is where more and more people are consuming video on a regular basis. It's a little harder for people to find your video on YouTube, but the experience is going to be better. And a lot of people are now watching YouTube on their television. The best experience that people are going to have from a consumption standpoint with your church services, which is longer form video content, is on their television. So sitting on their couch as a family, watching the television is going to be much more convenient than just holding up this one device. And this one device is harder for community, for people to be doing it together. So when you think about the live stream experience, the easier you can get it onto a television, the better. Now they can live stream your Facebook to a television as well. It's easier to find YouTube on a television. It's easier to engage Facebook on a mobile device. What I found as well is the average stream on Facebook is less than a minute. The average stream on YouTube that I've seen is typically in the double digits on minutes. And so in a lot of, I was just looking at a church's stats recently, and over 30 minutes average view time. So it's a very significant platform for longer form video consumption. And so I highly recommend those two platforms. And then you can also push it out to Twitter, but your website, where it's a more owned platform, or your app. But I would push it out to where people are with Facebook and YouTube. Facebook also makes it very shareable, so it's very easy to share it. And so this is actually a great opportunity for people to easily invite people to their church. And so thinking through how you can create that experience for people to come to your church and live stream your services in the most optimal way. Aaron, are you back?
Yep. I do apologize for that, but it was a great stretch of listening to the expert talk about expert things. So,
and you're still looping. I don't know how to fix this.
That's really weird.
Yeah, I'm going to pop you out for a minute. So we're going to keep going here. And if you have comments, feel free to pop those in. I can see the comments coming in from YouTube. I'm not seeing them from the other platforms, but I appreciate everyone who is watching. I'm going to move to, so how do you best get people to your church online experience? What I want to look at there is really, what are your communication strategies? So what are, it's not just putting it on Facebook, but use your email list. Tell everyone, go here, and have a primary place. And so I wouldn't just say we're going to be on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you want to watch. I would say we're going to be live streaming on Facebook this weekend. We want you to go there. Now, some people just prefer YouTube, and so it could be there, or we're going to be live streaming on this church online platform. Here's the link. You want to go here. You want to share this with your friends. Help us get the word out. So make sure you clearly communicate it. Make sure you encourage people to share that on social media to let other people know. And get the word out. If you have a text message list, text messaging is the most direct form of communication that we have today. And I would personally text that to people, personally text that to your staff, and allow them to invite people in. Aaron, let's try this again.
Yeah. How's that better?
It is better. It's
probably a little. What's that?
Yeah, it's like you're in a tin can, but
that's very strange.
Yeah.
For sure, it's not on your.
It's not looping on us.
Okay, there you go.
So, Aaron, what would you recommend from a marketing standpoint? So, when you with what you do at One and All, how do you promote your live streams, and how do you get the audience there? Especially like in One and All right now, we were talking earlier, is still having services or planning to this weekend. If you close down, what would you do from a communication standpoint to bring people in?
Yeah. We just got a message that we're about to meeting here to go over what we're doing this weekend. I do have a gut feeling that we can cancel. I don't know, and how terrible is audio, Nils? This is all right.
Okay, I'm gonna cut it off with Aaron. Sorry about that, Aaron. So marketing, get the word out about your live stream. Use your email list. Use your SMS list, use social media, and then personally text as many people and create kind of an organic push around this to be able to draw people in to your online stream. Let's see, what other questions would you have about live streaming? So once you get them to your platform, so if it's on Facebook or if it's on YouTube or if it's on wherever it is, have places that they can respond. And so in your church services, you likely have things like, like we're going to stand up or sit down, or we're going to, if you want to accept Christ, maybe come to the front, or you fill out this card. And so figure out what's the action step. And so if it's on Facebook Live, maybe it's comment, introduce yourself below, welcome each other in the chat instead of shaking hands in the room. And so in many ways, I'm thinking through if you're just doing it online. And so I think one of the things, if you're still having a service, but a lot of people are staying home, what I would also do is just encourage the people in the crowd, encourage the people that are in the room and online to do a different action. So if you're doing a welcome here, you want to welcome the people online. If you're leading worship in the room, you want to look at the camera and engage and say, everyone online, join us in worshiping in your home or wherever it is you're watching as well. And especially for the pastor, the preacher, to communicate directly to the camera. And so I think whatever that looks like, be very intentional about the online audience. I think what you don't want to do is pretend like they're not there, and you don't want them to feel like a secondary audience. You want them to feel like they're important. They're a part of this service, and they're fully engaged in your worship environment. And so, in your worship experience, one of the things that, and I saw a question come in about what camera should we use, what kind of technology should we use. And I think this depends on what kind of experience you want to have. And so for some churches, it might be that you have no services at all, and you literally can just use a webcam. I think that works great. The reality is, if this is all you have everything you need. An iPhone would work fine. Aaron, thanks for trying. Aaron just texted me and apologized. And I've got to repeat this again of like, this is the reality of live streaming. And I can't remember how many times that we had errors and issues and people that wanted to be there and we couldn't get it to work for them. and I'm going to keep talking about the technology, but I'm talking about some like technical glitches that people get to. And so if you're doing this from home, and I think about this, like I'm literally in my home office, and here's the technology I've used. I'm using a Logitech 930 camera, which is about $30-$40 on Amazon. And you've got time right now to Amazon Prime it and have it to your church before Sunday. I use a Blue Yeti. Let me see if I can pop it up. Microphone that is about $150. This is my most expensive technology, and honestly, it's the most important for your church. People need to hear you. A lot of times we get caught up in the camera. The camera is one of the least important things. The audio is the most important. People need to hear you. People need to hear what it is you're trying to bring to them more than they need to see you, but they do need to see you. So you need to have a good camera, but more important to me than the camera is the lighting. And so I'm using these little LED lights. The pair of, I think these are NEWEGG LED lights. I can tell you the brand, but just search LED lights on Amazon. These are about $100. They don't get hot. They light up well. And so if you have a small setup like I have here, it does a great job. And then I bought this little white photography backdrop on Amazon for about $50. And so and I use that just to minimize distraction in my camera view, so that when we're doing live streams, or I do a lot of video conference calls, there's not a lot of distraction around me. And so when you're having a church service online or worship experience online, then you want to minimize distractions, and you want to create as much engagement with the message that you're having to make it as simple as possible for those people to follow along and to engage with you in that experience. So that's the technology I use, and I would say that would be kind of a second level. This would be your first level. So get a little tripod for your iPhone. And just set that up in the first row of your church service and live stream. And then if you have more of if you've got some good cameras and you're already recording your services, you should be able to take the video feed out of that and the audio feed out of your soundboard and put it right into a switcher or some kind of, adapter into your computer. And I'll let you just research that. I'm not going to get into the pro side of this because you probably have that technology already if you have that gear. But get it into the computer and then choose your streaming platform like Vimeo or whatever the different platforms are that you would want to. Stream Monkey is what I was trying to think of there, and then push it out and get it out onto the Church Online platform, or wherever it is that you're trying to drive people to. So that's a technology overhaul. I want to be clear. I'm not a video guy. I'm not a production guy, but I think that also speaks to I never have been a video guy. I couldn't tell you the difference between a Sony and a Canon camera. But I do value being able to engage people in a quality way. And so I've tried to find some simple things and simple ways to connect and engage people through these social platforms and through video. And so I've been able to figure out this little setup, and by asking a lot of friends. And so if you want to imitate me, and I could see your whole church service being, you could even have one guy and a guitar, with a webcam like this and a couple of lights. And I think you can have a pretty good experience. I've actually helped a church do this in the Middle East, that this is their church, and they stream that out to house churches all over the Middle East. And it really is the opportunity to take your church anywhere. But we're focused on how you support people that cannot come to your church this weekend or are uncomfortable because of the coronavirus, and understandably so. And so how you create a great environment for them. So we've talked about the technology, the technology to push it out, how you want to engage people. Now let's talk about just some of the tangible, practical stuff like music, like communion, and even preaching. And so with the music, one thing I want to just communicate about an online service is a lot of times people want to take, especially if they're doing a custom service for online, is do the exact same thing for online that they do in the room. And the reality is to online, and that I found through the years, is that music just doesn't engage as much online. I think music is an important part of your worship experience. But where we might do 4 or 5 songs in a worship service, I might look at doing 2 or 3 songs online, if not just one. as it is a way for people to prepare their hearts for the message or to reflect. And I'm part of live streaming. I'm in New York City. And I've got the siren in the background here. So I apologize for the distraction. But I would say, really think about that holistic experience of what do you want the flow to be for online? And if you are live streaming your room, it's going to naturally be the same as what you have in the room. But if you are creating a customized experience just for your online, you can get a guitar out here or switch spots and have a pastor, or you could do like what Aaron and I did. I'm going to put both of us up again on the screen because he's here. And you could have a side by side. There's all kinds of interesting, fun things that you could do to engage people in unique ways with the live stream itself, but being really authentic and connecting with them in a practical way. I'm doing this on the fly, guys. So if there's any questions you have, I could see, especially on YouTube, a lot of the chats coming in. Brian Gilmore has a great point here. If you don't have the CCLI streaming license, go get that today. That's an important thing. When you put music lyrics on your screen, you have to have a license to do that. And churches too often violate the law. CCLI has made it really easy for churches to make sure that they're licensed and they're doing all the right things from a streaming standpoint. And so, yeah, so you can stream to these platforms, to Facebook and YouTube, but make sure you have the legal license that you need to be able to stream the words on your screen. So that's a great call. So just Google CCLI streaming license, CCLI streaming license, and you'll find the information. And they have different price tiers based on the size of your church. So yeah, make sure you go get that and protect yourself. Jude, thanks for joining us as well. And I definitely, and I'm doing this because of the timing of what's going on and the number of requests that I'm getting around live streaming. So let's talk about communion, though. If your church does communion every Sunday, I think it depends on the church. I know that the Methodist denomination, my dad is a Methodist pastor, has actually said you cannot do communion online. Now, when I was at Community Bible Church, and I believe that was a couple years ago that I heard that, so they might have changed that, or they might collectively change that now because so many churches are going to need to be streaming. And so in the Methodist Church, a pastor has to bless the sacraments before they're distributed to the congregation. But at Community Bible Church, we had different beliefs around that. And so we literally just said, go get something to represent the body of Christ and the blood of Christ while we take communion together. And we would encourage people, if you have crackers, if you have juice, find something to represent the body and blood of Christ. We would do an experience on the camera. We talk about it just like you would do in the service. And then we would simultaneously take communion. And so that's how we chose to do it. I think you've got to figure that out for your church and how you feel about that. I believe it's a powerful thing, and communion is a powerful thing, an important thing for the church. And that's how we chose to do it. The other thing that you could do as an experiment is use a platform like Zoom. Zoom is a video conference platform. And say for those that want to do communion, we can get on a video conference call together and see each other face to face and take communion. And so maybe even have a little communion gathering after church for those that's valuable to, and you'd rather be collectively face to face while doing communion and see each other and talk to each other and experience it in that way rather than just on a screen and through a text chat. So that's my thoughts on communion. I would love anyone else's thoughts or concerns or challenges as you go into this weekend. I want you to be prepared. I don't want you to be hesitant about live streaming, and I want you to be fully ready. And as I share too, that you can do it on the phone, and that I recommend a platform like StreamYard. StreamYard has to be done from a desktop, to be clear, or a laptop computer. And then if you want to go from a mobile device, you could literally just go into your Facebook app, and I'm going to do it right now. On the post part, there's a little button here. Right there, you can see where it says just live. So from my phone, I could just hit go live, and I'm literally a second away from being live on Facebook. It really is that easy. YouTube is the same way. And so you can just get the YouTube app and be streaming right from the YouTube app. Now, you can't stream to both platforms at the same time doing it that way. That's why you need a platform like StreamYard. But it's likely that you don't even want to, that just you want to just be on Facebook or just on YouTube. So those are the different paths in getting it out there. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm going to be releasing a course, or I'm working on something today. And so I don't know what it's going to be. The final product of it is going to be, but I will announce it because I want to resource the church best I can. I jumped on this live stream because I felt like it was important to get as much out quickly with these are, kind of unprepared thoughts. But as I've been doing this, I wanted to answer as many questions as I could, as quickly as I can. But I'm going to put together a more formal course, turnkey, to help you prepare, because the coronavirus isn't going to disappear tomorrow. And I think this is going to be a challenge and an important opportunity for the church today. And so I want to resource you. If you go to socialmedia.church, and sign up for our email list, I will make sure that everyone on that email list is the first to know about this resource that I create with Dunham & Company. So Dunham & Company is the organization that I work for and work with. We serve Christian ministries to help ministries do more ministry. That's exactly what we do. We do marketing and fundraising is the core to what we do. And so we're here to serve the church. And so we're going to do that by creating a course and a training in detail, quality course, an in-depth course that is not as quick and on the fly as this one, but it is going to be quick because I know it needs to get out there. And so, so go to socialmedia.church, sign up for that. Jude just asked me a question. What equipment would I recommend? And for those that are maybe watching live, I answered this earlier, and so you can go back and watch that later. But real quickly, the equipment I recommend is first your iPhone. If you've got nothing else and you want to do it quickly, your iPhone is all you need. Let me actually see if I have a tripod in here. Yeah, so I'll show you a couple of my toys here before we wrap up. Here we go. This is a better solution. But here's a couple of options that you can use. This is just a little stand that I use. I keep this on my desk so I can see my phone when I'm sitting here working. And it would easily just hold my phone if you wanted to even go horizontal with it, or if you wanted to go vertical with it. This would work in many ways like a tripod. And so that's one option. The other here is a little handheld tripod / selfie stick. And so you just literally clip your phone in here. Trent Dunham is calling me, by the way. I don't want to accidentally answer it and have Trent join the live stream. So you would just clip it in there and open up the tripod, and there's your tripod, and you can be live streaming on your phone. For those that are live streaming just for that, you don't, you're not doing a service in your building, then I would recommend the setup I have, because I'm a big fan of it, is using a Logitech webcam, about $50 on Amazon, using a Blue Yeti microphone or some kind of, USB microphone. I was also just sent, I've got all kinds of little toys here on my desk. This is another little microphone I got. It's a FINE microphone. This is about $20 on Amazon. They sent it to me for free, and I've been testing it. It doesn't work for multiple people very well, but it does for just one person. So if it's just me and you're looking for an even less expensive solution, so this is a good $20 option. This is about $150. So get a USB microphone, and then make sure you even sit by a window to get good lighting. And then the other is using, if you already have a couple cameras or a good camera, and using the sound from your soundboard that in your worship center or sanctuary, you can use that as well. So that's the key tools that I've used and used to get the live stream out. Here's the last thing I want to say about this is when you're live streaming, I would say a couple of things. Enjoy the uniqueness of it. Lean into the uniqueness of it. Don't pretend, if you're just having a live stream service, that sorry, we have to live stream. Don't apologize for live streaming. Be excited that you have this moment. You have this opportunity to engage. Thank God we live in this day that we can all still gather. Celebrate that and lean into that and have some fun with it. And then I would say, just make sure to be very intentional to look at the camera, be very intentional to engage the audience. And so don't just pretend like, I guess there's a camera on me, but really, you're talking to those people together. And while they're not sitting in a room in front of you, they are gathering in their homes or gathering wherever it is that they are as a family. And so connect with them as personally as you can. Appreciate the opportunity. And I would say lean into the evangelistic opportunity of this day is when people are sitting in your pews, the next time they can invite a friend is sometime in the next week. And then hopefully they'll get in their cars and they'll come to your service building. At this point, they're one click away from sharing this with all of their friends and inviting maybe 10 people at a time. Encourage people to share this. This is the easiest time and moment for people to share your church with their friends and family. Take advantage of that moment. Use that. Encourage them to do that. Encourage them to invite friends beforehand. Encourage them at the beginning of your service to hit that share button or click share to text message a friend. But this is a great invitation opportunity for people to join your church. Take advantage of that moment. If you have any questions, reach out to me at Nils Smith on all of the social handles. Let me throw up. This is one of the, here's the socialmedia.church link. Go sign up for that email to get updated on the upcoming resource that I'm going to be releasing. And then follow me on social media or send me a DM. And I will answer as many questions as I can on Instagram stories or wherever it is I can. Appreciate you guys watching this live stream. We will talk to you soon.